welcome to It's 502 Somewhere, a show where we talk to the people that make up the culture and identity of the city of Louisville. I'm your host, Andrew Crum, and I'm so excited for this new episode where we will be talking to a man who is currently the executive director of Camp Quality Kentuckiana. He's also been an academic advisor, a counselor, and lecturer at UofL. I'm here with Eddie Bobbitt. Eddie, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm living the dream. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's a little too hot outside. I think I've said that for the last 5 episodes. It's just been a hot summer. There's nothing we can
Anybody
do.
anybody who picks this over fall or winter is insane. Like it's
I
it's terrible outside.
there are some times in the winter, maybe when it's 5 degrees and we're snowed in for a week, where I'm thinking otherwise. But any other time, I dread right now, and I feel
Yeah.
like it's not going to get better in August. But
I just
fingers crossed.
every time I go outside, I'm thinking about that like crisp October morning where you wake up and you go outside and that the air hits you and it's a college football Saturday. Like
Ooh,
that is the moment that just gets me through these hot summer days.
absolutely. And so jumping right into it, if you could tell us a little bit about your upbringing and where you're from.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So, as you said, my name's Eddie Bobbitt, and I get the opportunity to serve as the executive director for Camp Quality Kentuckiana. A little bit about my background: I'm a born and raised New Albanian. I'm from Southern Indiana. Still call this place home. Attended high school at New Albany High School. Went off to the University of Louisville at UofL. I studied a variety of different things. Like most students, I changed my major a few times. Wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I started to go the sports administration route, and then I got really interested in marketing, which then got me interested in working with students and student affairs, which then led to me becoming an academic advisor. And one thing after that led to a variety of different roles, which we may or may not get into. But that's some of the things that about me or what I've done. A little bit more about who I am. I am Beth Ann's youngest. I'm Jason's little brother. I have a beautiful better half named Stephanie. I'm a dog lover. His name's Gatsby. Shout out Gatsby boy.
Shout out
Uh,
Gatsby.
yeah, hyperactive Australian Shepherd. Overprotective uncle. I love to grill. I love to be out back listening to the Foo Fighters while grilling something on the Blackstone or the smoker, and love to be outdoors, man, when it's not 110 degrees outside.
Yes, when it's not 110 degrees outside.
Yeah.
And kind of going back a little bit, as you kind of were going through all the roles you've had, when you were growing up, did you have a lot of great mentors in your life that inspired you to then kind of get into the roles that you've been in now?
Yeah. So I don't know how deep we want to get into it, but I was raised by my grandparents. One of the so I'll give you the content, and then if you choose to use it,
Yeah.
we can roll with it. So
Yeah.
in high school, I worked at a school supply store, and I was helping a lady one day, and she left. And after she left, she came back and she said, "Hey, you seem like you'd be really good working with kids." Mind you, I'm 18 years old
Yeah.
and no experience working with kids. And she's like, "Do you have any experience?" I'm like, "No, I'm a kid myself." And she's like, "Well, our mission, we're Camp Quality, and our mission is to let kids with cancer be kids again." And at the time, it was Camp Quality Indiana,
Okay.
and it felt like a movie. And that sounds corny for those who are watching and listening, but it really did. It felt like a movie. I was by the G2 pens and the Expo markers. I thought about it because I lost my mother to cancer when I was 10. So in that moment, it was like a flood of emotions and memories of thinking about her going through it. And after she said that, I was like, "Yeah, I'm in." And then since then, I've been a part of Camp Quality. Now, as far as other mentors, man, I think one of the things that makes me so passionate about the variety of roles that I do is because whether it's here at New Albany High School, where I work as a post secondary counselor, helping students get to whatever's next, if that's military, if that's trade school, if that's college, I help them get there. At the University of Louisville, I don't graduate without some of the mentors, Dr. Dale Billingsley, Michael Abood, there was a Rebecca Ledford. There was a variety of individuals who helped me get to that point. So I'm just trying to pass it on and pay it forward to those who invested in me or gave me life changing moments and didn't realize it.
Yeah.
That story in high school, working at the school supply store, I share that story all the time because I've never seen the lady again.
Wow.
Changed my life.
That's incredible.
Changed my life. I went to the camp that summer, and she was like, everyone was like, "How did you hear about us?" And I was like, "Some lady, brown hair, glasses," and they were like, "We have no idea you talked to me." So, lady changed my life and didn't know it or doesn't know it.
Look, if she stumbles upon this podcast, I don't know if it'll happen, but if it happens,
Please holler at me because
holler at Eddie.
I've been trying to find this lady.
So going back again a little bit to when you were at U of L, You said you worked within the university, also in athletics. What were some of the roles you had there? And what, I guess, inspired you to eventually remain with the university as long as you did, or as you have?
Some of the roles at the university that I had. So my literally first week on campus, I was looking for a work study job, and a gentleman by the name of Micah Bood asked me if I wanted to work study job in the financial aid office. I was just looking for a job, and I was like, sure. And it was through that experience of like working with students and working with students with their financial aid issues, as silly as that may sound, like I really enjoyed it. And throughout my undergrad, I also worked for the athletic department.
Mm-hmm.
I worked in marketing specifically, women's basketball. I worked for field hockey, did a lot of game day promotions. And fun fact, I actually had to guard Angel McCautry one time in basketball practice because Coach Walls needed somebody to come down and play her, and she destroyed me. Just destroyed me. I had no chance. But worked in athletics, really enjoyed that. And like I said, it was working in athletics when I started to really enjoy working with student athletes. Then I became a graduate peer counselor in the financial aid office. And then a job came open for the academic advising. I was also a peer advisor all through undergrad. And then I became an academic advisor, which was really interesting because I was like 22 and I was advising students that were my age
Yeah.
or even older in some cases. And then that evolved into becoming a freshman orientation instructor and the Gen 101 courses. Yeah, led to a variety of roles, which led to my current role as now as my senior lecturer for the School of Urban Public Affairs.
Amazing. And when you said that you were about the same age as some of the kids that were also, as a recent graduate yourself while you were advising them, how did you get engaged in that role at first, and how are you able to relate to them while also serving as a mentor? That does seem like kind of a difficult thing to balance.
Man, it was tough. I'm going to be real with you. My first 3 or 4 years as an academic advisor, if you're watching this and I was your advisor, I apologize because I was not my authentic self. I was young and I had imposter syndrome like crazy because I was the first person in my family to graduate high school, let alone college. At times, it almost felt like, who am I working with these students when I'm the first one to do this anyway, and I'm their age? Like, who says that I know more than they do? So the first 3 or 4 years was difficult because I was trying to be somebody I wasn't. I was like super professional. Not that I'm not professional now, but like, coming to work with the shirt and tie and just trying to be someone I wasn't. And then in 2013, I finally decided I'm just going to be myself, and that's when I realized that all the mentors that I had at UofL, that's who they were. Dr. Dale Billingsley was the associate vice provost of the university, and he's walking around with his LL Bean backpack and just cutting up with students. And I was like, I just need to be who I am. So became a little bit more relaxed and really connected with my students on a personal level and given them some of who I am. And to steal a quote from Young Jeezy, real recognize real.
Of course.
And that honestly became my advising philosophy when working with students is just be real and students will connect with you.
And working with young students, what do you think is the most rewarding part of working with these young students, guiding them on their journeys, and what do you think is something that people maybe don't consider when approaching young people in this capacity?
Yeah, so one of the things that makes me excited, and this kind of goes back to one of your original questions about mentors. So in high school, my first couple of years, I had the plan of just going into the military because I didn't think I could do anything else because I come from an incredibly poor background. And then my counselor at the time said, "No, you can go. I'll show you the way." And she did. And then she helped me get scholarships and she helped me fill out the FAFSA and did all these incredible things. So throughout my career at UofL, the way that she impacted me, I used to tell people I wanted to be the Laura McGurk of the University of Louisville. And then fast forward, after I left the university as an academic counselor, I actually took her place in my current role, working with students on whatever's next. So
Wow.
one of the most rewarding things is, man, I get the front seat of some really cool moments,
Mhm.
some very cool moments, helping students figure out what it is that they want to do or what it is that they don't want to do, both here at the high school level and at the university. Being a part of that chapter, it's incredibly rewarding. Sometimes it can be taxing. I'm not going to
Yeah.
lie, but yeah, just connecting with those students, helping them see their potential, helping them overcome some things that maybe they've had to overcome. Some of these students have stories that will boggle your mind, but just helping them get there and get them to that next step. And then I love getting on LinkedIn or Instagram and seeing them at graduations for their masters or their doctorates or whatever. It's really cool to see.
That's got to be really cool to see that full journey kind of reach its conclude, not that it's conclusion, but getting to the next step where they're really becoming their own person. That's going to be
Oh,
a really cool
absolutely,
experience.
man.
So now, and we've touched on it already, that you are now the executive director of Camp Quality, an incredible organization. Could you tell us a little bit about how you began as the executive director, and also for listeners who don't know what the camp is, what the organization is, what the camp entails?
Yeah. So, like I said, my journey with this organization started fresh out of high school. I was getting ready to start my freshman year at the University of Louisville when I was working at that school supply store. I went that
Mhm.
summer and it completely changed everything for me. So, for those who don't know, Camp Quality Kentuckiana, we are a year round support program and summer camp for local children dealing with cancer. We provide year round services, but the Super Bowl, or the WrestleMania, if you will, of the year every year is our camp week. And I started as a camp companion, which is a camp counselor. Through that experience, I learned a lot about the organization. I became very connected to the organization, and I was a camp counselor until about 2013. So it was about 8 or 9 years as a companion. At the same time, I was working as a senior academic counselor at the University of Louisville. Well, when there was a leadership change in 2013, I had zero experience in fundraising, like never raised a dollar.
Mhm.
But I was really passionate about the cause and the kids, so I decided to apply. And I luckily we they gave me a shot, and we raised a lot of money for the kids. And then I became the development director, and then it was a camp director, and then since 2016, I've been the executive director. So we are a part of a national organization called Camp Quality USA, but we are one of the largest camps of our kind that's serving again children who are dealing with cancer.
And you've shown us how long this journey has been and how long you've stuck with Camp Quality. What has drawn you to continue growing with this camp, and what is the impact that you have seen with these young participants?
It's a very interesting question, and I appreciate you asking that. Every year, when you fundraise and you do all these events and you go through the grind, if you will, there's always a point every year that you hit a burnout moment
Yes,
almost.
as someone who's in the nonprofit world too, yes, you really do.
You hit it, and but then you go to the camp. You're sitting on a golf cart and you see these kids just connecting. Camp Quality is not a location or a place; it's a community. And when you see these kids connecting, and some of maybe the younger kids who are going through this that are talking to companions that were former campers, and you see that bond that's forming, there's really nothing like it. And just being a small part of that, or giving that opportunity for that space to be created, it's an honor. And we also have an incredible team that helps put on all of our events. So that, of course, helps you come back. But it's really just the connections, man. Obviously, there's difficult moments, but it's those connections. It's a big 200-person family.
Yeah, and it really does. You really see the dual impact of not only the kids who are directly getting to be kids again, essentially, but it also there are people I know that were companions like 5 years before I was a companion back in 2015. There were people who did it 5, 10 years before that and are still doing it. So it really is something that I feel like just draws people in, and it is that family setting.
Yeah, actually, I warn our first time companions. I'm like, look, chances are this isn't going to be a 1 year thing. Like, you're going to be around. And it speaks to the organization culture. I mean,
Yeah,
let's be real. When you look around and there's people who've been a part of it for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, shout out Nurse Nancy.
yeah.
It speaks to the organization.
And for those interested in becoming involved, how can they do so? Whether it's as just a volunteer, companion, etc.
Yeah, so there's a variety of ways to get involved. First is I want to stress also that our name's a little bit misleading. Again, Camp Quality, people think it's just a summer camp. We do year round events. We're getting ready for our day at the bats with the families. We're going to Lou City for a game with the families. We'll have a teen retreat, a family retreat. So even if you're not able to volunteer for an entire week, you can get involved. We have a hospital outreach dinner that we're constantly looking for volunteers, where we take a meal to the unit and serve the families and just let them know that we're here for them, and that everything that we do is completely free. We're looking for individuals to volunteer at our year round events. We're looking, of course, for our companions. If you are that fresh out of high school, college demographic primarily, that's the sweet spot for a lot of our companions. So if you're interested in being a part of camp next year, our application will go live after the new year. We're always looking for quality companions. Now, in order to be a companion, you have to be 18 or older. You have to pass a background check. You would think that's a no-brainer, but one time I said that in an audience and I heard, "Oh man," and I'm like, "Bro, I can't let you come to camp if you can't pass a background check."
Yeah.
So have to pass a background check, and you have to commit to the full 6 days because it's a residential camp, and you're the kid's best friend throughout the week. But I promise you, you won't want to go home. Andrew, you can speak to that.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
we're also looking for individuals to serve on committees. If you are an event planner, let's say that you would love to plan a gala, like we have a gala committee that's starting to form now that's going to be planning an event for next year. I'm looking for volunteers to work our events, even helping set up like a golf scramble. Like there's just so many ways to get involved, and we're looking for those who are dedicated to our cause to join us.
Absolutely. And that sounds, and once this episode's out, we'll make sure to link to Eddie, Camp Quality, make sure you guys know
I was gonna say the social
exactly
media.
what's
Social
about.
media is the best way to get a hold of us. Instagram, the
Oh,
Facebooks,
mhm.
and of course our website campqualityusa.org/ki.
As you said, now with your work with Camp Quality Kentuckiana, you're also as a senior lecturer at UofL and a counselor. What has it been like working within UofL in that advisory standpoint? You said that you had done some orientations, but what has it been like as a lecturer? What has been the difference in that experience now?
Yeah, so I was a senior academic counselor for the College of Arts and Sciences from 2008 to 2019. And in that role, I worked with the most of the social science majors. So my political science, sociology, psychology, paralegal studies majors primarily. And that experience was amazing just to connect again with students on an individual basis. I was a concerned representative of the institution. U of L's 22,000 students. So to connect with them and walk with them to get them from orientation to commencement was amazing, but I felt like I could make a greater impact at the high school level. So, and I also, I saw the rising cost of higher education, and I wanted to start helping families and students find ways to fund education, and that's what I currently do.
Mm,
Last year, my seniors earned $25 million in scholarships. They
wow.
crushed it, yeah. So working in that role was amazing. But when I left the university as an academic counselor, I was talking with an individual and they said, "Hey, we would love to keep you on as an instructor," because I was teaching the freshman seminar courses. And they're like, "What would you like to teach?" And I was like, "Well, it's asinine to me that the major metropolitan research university in this area that has 7,000 nonprofits.
Yeah.
7,000. The nonprofit sector,
Forget Louisville gets crazy that
yeah,
time.
it's the Hunger Games.
Mhm.
7,000 nonprofits. Nonprofits are the third largest employer as a sector in this area. Yet we don't offer classes at the undergraduate level for students to find this work. I was like, let me work on this. So at the time I left, I was working at the high school. I'm still running Camp Quality, but then I'm just working with students on whatever it is from the nonprofit sector that I've taken and just making a curriculum out of it. So it started by teaching classes for the honors department on classes on nonprofit management, nonprofit marketing, and then I had a student who actually took my class in undergrad, went to School of Urban Public Affairs for graduate school, and in her advising appointment, she was like, "It was this class I had in undergrad that made me interested in this," and
Wow.
the advisor, Dr. Aaron Rollins, was like, "I don't think we have those at the undergrad." And she's like, "Yeah." And he came to my class and then invited me to be a part of the team. So now I get to work with undergrads in the fall, graduate students in the spring, and I get to show them the nonprofit sector and the incredible impact that we're having on our communities in a variety of ways. And then going through different elements like marketing, grant writing, strategic planning, and still connecting with my students on an individual level.
Yeah, and I mean that's nugget of knowledge that I did this 7,000 nonprofit. I mean, I figured that there's a large number of nonprofits being in that world. Just hearing, and the third most in
Yeah.
terms of like workforce in this area is pretty remarkable.
Yeah,
Something I
so
didn't know.
so I was like, we need to have that at the undergraduate level so that students don't have to go to IU for the
Yeah,
School of Philanthropy to
yeah,
be introduced.
yeah. And then so you're saying you work with graduate students and undergrads, and then also in your counseling, you counsel high schoolers. What is kind of the difference between those two jobs that you have, and what has it been like to be, a counselor to these high school students?
Yeah, so working here at the high school, for those who don't know about New Albany, I know we're right across the river. Large public high school, 1,800 students, incredibly diverse student population. We're the oldest high school in the state of Indiana. And in my role, I work with just the graduating seniors on whatever is next. So I'm getting ready here next week to be introduced to another 450 students. And we've all been there your senior year. You either think you know what you want to do, or you think you know what you want to do, but you have no idea how you're going to pay for it, or you don't know, right? And so the opportunity to work with students on almost alleviating that concern about having to, we in the K through 12 system, in my opinion, put too much pressure on students to figure out exactly what they want to do for the rest of their lives in high school. We got to stop that, right? So I tell students all the time, like, just look at the umbrellas that you could see yourself under, and then we'll figure it out from there. Because once you go to a university, or once you go to a trade school, or once you go to some post-secondary certification process, you're going to figure out what it is that it is that you want to do. But to work with these students on an individual basis, and the families, debunking myths sometimes, right? Or just bringing students to reality about the value of a higher education degree, because it is incredibly valuable, but we got to make a smart investment. It's impactful. And some of the best rewards in my current roles, when students come back and say, hey, your help got me this scholarship and I was able to afford going to this school, or you guided me in a way that I wasn't excited at first, but now I see I saved a lot of money and I'm not in debilitating debt when I graduate. So it's incredibly rewarding.
And that is incredible to hear. Kind of leads a little bit into this next question about the younger generation. In your work across the board, whether it's guiding high school students into college, guiding college students who want to get into the world of philanthropy, and your work at Camp Quality, what do you hope to inspire in younger generations who are eager to get into some of those same fields that you have worked in?
Yeah. Wow. That's a very good question. What do I hope to inspire students? I guess first thing I want to do is I want students to reflect on their own interests and their own skill set and their own passions, and then start there. Too often, students, especially when they're fresh undergrads or they're high school students, they are listening to individuals say, "Well, you should do this," and they're like, "Well, I guess that's what I should do," right? Instead of really pulling back and saying, "What is it that I want to do? What is it that I like to do?" And then, as far as my undergraduate students that are interested in working in the nonprofit sector, I just hope that they feel inspired by, first, they figure out a cause that really drives home for them. It sounds corny, but both in the education and the nonprofit sector, like I feel like I'm robbing my employers. Like I get paid to do these things. Like
Mhm.
it's unbelievable. So I just want students to find a passion, find something that really connects with them, and then we figure out how to pay for it, right? Or figure out how to get paid for it. So there's a variety of involvement that they can get involved in the nonprofit sector. No, working in the nonprofit sector does not mean you're committed to a life of poverty,
Yeah.
right? Let's just debunk that. You
Mhm.
can make a good living wage and still serve our world. But yeah, I hope I just inspire students to really reflect on what it is that they are passionate about, and then taking the steps to go after that.
Yeah. And building on that, what piece, and this kind of ties into already what you've just said, what piece of advice would you give that you wish that you would have received as you were getting started in the multitude of fields that you've worked in?
To be real, the bit of advice that I wish I would have gotten a little earlier, especially as a young professional or even as a college student, is to build your team. Like if you're an undergraduate student, you need to go ahead and set up, like you need to go to financial aid office and find somebody that you connect with, and that person becomes your person of financial aid. And you need to go talk with your academic advisor and figure whoever that is on your team. Like build the support around you, because you're going to need it. Life is going to hit you, and it could be a relationship, it could be a death in the family. You're going to need that support system, and then as you build that support system, try to find individuals who are doing this type of work, and then connecting with them. I'm huge on networking. If you're watching this and you're a young professional, your network is your net worth. My students hear that all the time. You've got to build your social capital, and that doesn't mean if you're an introvert you can't be successful at networking, but you need to be networking. It's not who you know, it's who knows you. So getting your name out there, getting connected, building your support system, building your network around you, would be probably the advice I wish I would have gotten a little earlier.
Yeah, I mean that's your network is your net worth is I think perfect and sums that up very succinctly. One final question before we go into just a rapid fire round. Thank you once again for joining the
No, man, this is
show.
awesome.
So being involved in the University of Louisville, I believe you're a Cards fan, correct? Just want to
Oh,
make sure.
of
Yes,
course.
just want
Yeah.
to make sure.
I've got
As
Coach Denny Crumb's ball up here. I got Jeff Walls right
There we
here. I
go.
got, yeah,
There,
absolutely.
and I know you had mentioned Angel McCaughtry was on the show a few weeks ago.
Oh, that's
Actually,
awesome.
virtually, she was in London because
Yeah,
she's premiering a movie she's directing, which is crazy that she's getting into that. I mean, it's getting good reviews. That's pretty awesome. So Angel's killing it right now.
man, I could go on all day. I have some stories from working in athletics, man.
Yeah,
Maybe if we jump off this call, I can tell you about my time that I had to deliver the governor's cup on the field at the
man.
stadium, and I had to hand it over to the administrators. It's a story.
we don't have to dive all into it. So did you? So where did you start? So you were in. Where did
Okay,
you start with the governor's cup?
so I'm gonna give you the story, and then
All right.
you can use it, okay?
Okay.
Or you could cut it, right? So I was working in athletics. I was working in marketing, and
Okay.
one day, the athletic director, Mr. Tom Jurich, incredible leader, came to my office and said, "Hey, Eddie, what are you doing this weekend? Would you like to go to the game?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course, I want to go to the game." Now, this is Cragthorpe's first year. Brom, we go down. Anyway, he says they left the Governor's Cup down at the football stadium. I need you to take it down to the stadium tomorrow. I'm an undergraduate student, love football, and the athletic director has asked me to take the Governor's Cup down. So of course I'll do that. So, but he said under no circumstance do you stay on the field. It's like, okay, fine.
All right.
So my buddy and I went and we took down the Governor's Cup, and there was a pep rally beforehand down in Lexington. We got the crowd all excited. Mind you, we're wearing Louisville T-shirts and we're dressed like college students.
Mm-hmm.
And after we did that, my buddy was throwing football with a friend or a fan, and he rolled his ankle. Well, when he rolls his
Oh.
ankle, he goes to an EMT. They give him some cast or whatnot. We lose time. We're supposed to have the Governor's Cup at the stadium at Commonwealth at a certain time. ESPN was supposed to do some type of video shot of it. So anyway, we get stuck in traffic, and I see a police officer go by, and I wave at him, and he comes up to me. He was on a moped type thing,
Yeah.
and I was like, "You're not going to believe this, but we have the Governor's Cup in my 2000 Toyota Camry." He's like, "You do. You all have the Governor's Cup." And I was like, "Yeah, we have the Governor's Cup." And he's like, "Okay, I don't believe you, but I'm going to give you the escort to the stadium, and if you don't have it, I'm going to take you to jail for lying to me." Which he was probably just like, making me
Yeah.
scared.
Yeah.
So we get down there, and we get it out. And mind you, that Governor's Cup, for those who watch the game, that thing is not light. That thing is
Yeah.
heavy.
It looks. Yeah. It looks
It's
heavy.
heavy. Case in, it's huge. We get it out of the car, and I was like, "Appreciate it." He's like, "No, you're going to open that." I was like, "What do you? No, right here." I open it, and it was like an angelic chorus. All the BBN swarms me. He helps us get in. We finally get it onto the field. We roll it over to the sideline. I see the SID. I wave him down. I'm like, "Bro, I'm done. Take the cup." My buddy's on his crutches, but then he says, "No, you're staying with it." I was like, "No, I was told by no means do I stay on the field." And he's like, "Nope, you're going to stay here with it." So the entire game, it was my buddy Josh, who is now a leadership role at Ivy Tech Community College. It was him, myself, a friend of ours, Mike, and then the cup. And then, of course, the end of the game is not what we wanted as Cards fans.
No.
Woodson to Stevie in the corner.
Oh God. Oh yeah. That was the game. Oh yeah. Oh 07.
It was that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
The fans stormed the field. That was not an enjoyable experience. They pushed over my buddy Josh. They took his crutches.
Oh my God. Josh.
Yeah,
Josh.
I'm trying to get Josh out of there, and it was I think they took his crutches, and then Trent Guy
Mm-hmm.
had a little back and forth with a fan. So by the time we got back to the vehicle, I was like, I do not like the University of Kentucky anymore. So
No, I wouldn't either.
that's my Commonwealth Governor's Cup story. So
That's an incredible story.
yeah,
And I feel like I was going to ask you what the University of Louisville means to you. I feel like that shows it right there. I feel like you capture just
well,
your willingness for the university
yeah,
in that moment.
I propose in front of the thinker. That also kind of speaks to how
That
much the university
and
means
that's
to me.
absolutely that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go into a rapid fire segment right now called Crumb's Corner, and then we'll get you out of here. Thank you so much again, Eddie, for joining. First question, just right off the bat. Do you have a favorite day at Camp Quality?
Oh
I
my gosh.
always love the last night. I think is always was one of my favorite moments when I worked there. But what would that be for you?
It's a tie, and I know that's against the rules. First is the
No,
fireworks. We have Zambelli, who puts on Thunder Over Louisville, comes out to camp, put on a ridiculous fireworks show for the kids,
yeah.
and then the talent show. That's the Thursday night. That's the last night. You get to see all
Oh
the
yeah.
kids' personalities. They're telling jokes. They're singing songs. It's an incredible night. It's the Christmas of the year for me.
Yeah. So I had this question before you answer the last question. So maybe a memorable moment. I was going to ask, what was your most memorable moment, sports, etc., while you were at U of L? I figure the Governor's Cup one is probably number one. If you have a second one other than that, what would it be?
While I was
And
at
you, yeah,
while I was at the
while at
university.
U of L. Yeah.
My second or third year at the U of L, I got a call, and it was from a friend, and he said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm just hanging out." And he's like, "Well, this was when I was an academic counselor at U of L." He said, "Hey, would you like to come eat lunch with Muhammad Ali?"
Wow.
And I was like, what? And I went to the Ali Center, and I got to have lunch with the goat and Lonnie and my friend. And then it was his birthday celebration. And to this day, I have the picture of the goat and I hanging out. If you walk into the Ali Center, there's an escalator. It's now an archives room. That's where we was. But the Governor's Cup and meeting Ali, that's probably two of the largest.
God, I mean, that's incredible. Just getting a call, be like, hey, want to eat with the goat? Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
why
do
not?
that. I'll do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
As a longtime Louisville resident, or just around this area in general, what do you think is an underrated gem in the area? Whether it's like a restaurant or just different landmark in Louisville, it could be anything.
Well, I don't know if it's still there, but Santa Fe Mexican Grill, right across from the baseball stadium, from Jim Patterson,
Yeah,
was a gym.
yeah. I don't
Um,
know if it's. I think it's. Yeah, I don't. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to check on that. But
okay, other underrated gym, Waterfront Wednesdays, man. Like I
yeah,
know a lot of people go to those, but I don't think enough give it the love that it deserves.
no, I love Waterfront Wednesday. I haven't been in a while, but I think I'm gonna, as the summer's coming to a close,
Yeah,
try to go to one in
let it
August.
let it cool down
Uh,
a little bit.
yeah, let it cool down slightly. Louisville football fan. What is your record prediction for this year for the team?
Give me, man. I really like our offense. Give me 10-2.
10-2. I could
Uh,
see it. I mean, I could really see anything. Honestly, I feel like as long as we don't trip up, it feels like if we don't have like a trip up like we did a couple years ago against Pittsburgh or
or
Stanford,
Stanford.
that's kind of the big thing for
Yeah.
yeah. In my extensive research for this podcast, or just brief Instagram research, I saw that you're a runner. I'm a fellow runner. What is your favorite race that you have ran, and what is one that you're looking to try in the future?
Yeah. So I'm happy that you asked that, Andrew. Eau Claire half marathon next year. You got to go up there if you haven't been to it.
Where is it?
Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Okay.
That city loves that race, and they really get behind it. That's been a favorite. The Green Bay. I'm a Packers fan.
Okay.
The Green Bay, where you get to finish at Lambeau Field, half
Ooh.
marathon, incredible. And one that I want to do right now, we are looking at traveling to London because I only do half marathons and below, but doing
Yeah.
a half marathon in London, that's definitely coming up next year.
Yeah. I don't think I could do a full marathon. I think half is a good place to stop. But no, I'll have to look into that. I really love the Louisville 10 mile, kind of like the Lambeau
Oh,
one where you finished on the field. That one was really cool.
yeah,
Getting to finish on Cardinal Stadium.
that one was outstanding. Although the individuals that were hanging out at the bottom of Iroquois Hills handing out energy drinks after we just ran the hills of Iroquois, I don't think it was a good idea to be pounding
I
energy
was
drinks.
I was not having a good time in the hills of Iroquois. I
Yeah,
was that was especially when that's like right in the middle, and then it's like, all right, you have 5 miles left. It's like, all right,
yeah, it
we'll see
definitely
how this
takes some
goes.
souls. It takes souls, but it's a good run. Louisville, man, has so many good races. We're really lucky to have such a compassionate city and such a city with a vibrant activity scene and parks and rec department. Like we're really lucky. But if you get a chance to check out the half and half challenge, if you want to look it up, you run a half marathon in St. Paul, Minnesota on a Saturday, and the next morning you wake up and you run in Eau Claire. You run a half marathon in Eau Claire. It's a blast.
Man, that's crazy. That sounds awesome, though.
Yeah,
I
it's
got to
cool.
prepare my body for it.
Yeah.
And then one final question. I've kind of asked what you think sets the university apart. And you could also talk about a little bit about Southern Indiana as well. What sets this overall region, city of Louisville, Southern Indiana, apart from the rest, do you think?
I think it's just the compassion of the city. You know, when you look at the 7,000 nonprofits, when you look at all the different events to the Crusade for Children, I mean, this place is different, man. It's just different, and I'm super proud to be a part of it, whether it's for the nonprofit sector or through the education side. The compassion of the city is unmatched.
Absolutely. And I agree 1,000%. And Eddie, I want to just thank you again for joining the show. I think this has been awesome getting to learn about your story, what you've learned from the different roles that you've had throughout the city, whether it's as an academic counselor or an executive director or senior lecturer, and then also just getting to learn about you as a person. So thank you so much again for joining the show.
No, man, I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
Perfect. And thank you guys for listening to the show. And just remember, it's 5:02 somewhere, and I'll check you guys next time.